understand you are not trained for police work. You are not equipped for it.
You've already told me that.
Please, for the 100th time, will you let the professionals handle this case?
The professionals haven't been able to accomplish anything.
You've already told me that.
They don't know where Luke and Laura are. They haven't been able to find them. All they've been able to do is get little traces of where they might have been. Well, that's not good enough. I want to know where they are, and I want to know if they're all right.
And you think that by fraternizing with Frank Smith, he's going to tell you? Or just what is your plan? Tell me.
Subtle. I bet you thought just because you let a minute go by, I wouldn't remember that I just said I wasn't going to talk to you about that, right? I'm ashamed of you.
Leslie, please, let me tell you something. If I could think of a forcible way of stopping you right now, I would do it, believe me.
I'm sure you would, but I still happen to think that I'm right.
Well, then why don't you tell me what you're up to so that I can arrange some protection for you? It's not going to interfere with what you're doing. It'll make me feel better. What's so bad?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thank you for your concern. It just isn't necessary. It's all right, Alice. I'll get it. Hi.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have to come in and I have to talk to you, okay? I've been a nervous wreck all day, and I keep thinking about that slip you made with Frank Smith.
Just keep in your mind what happened to Patty Kelly. I don't think you want to end up the same way, do you?
Come in. Daddy!
Hello, darling.
Oh, Daddy.
Surprise?
Oh, am I ever? What a beautiful surprise.
How good it is to see you.
Oh, it's wonderful seeing you. You can't imagine how miserable I've been.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it was for your protection.
I can't stand being cooped up in this house with only my aunt to talk to. But I've had time to think.
And?
I'm no longer in love with Luke Spencer.
You don't know how glad I am to hear you say that.
You've been waiting to hear that, haven't you?
To hear you say it and mean it.
I really do mean it.
All right. I've come to see you here for two reasons. One, I want you to be ready at a moment's notice to join me on a trip to Europe.
Daddy, how exciting.
But don't talk to anyone about the trip. Let it be our secret.
I promise.
And I have another surprise for you.
You know I love surprises.
This is quite a special one from Port Charles. How would you like to chat with a lady who's very concerned about your welfare?
Susan Moore.
No, not Susan. Dr. Lesley Weber.
Really? That is surprising.
Yes. I thought I'd let her come here for a short visit. Would you like that?
Well, yes, I suppose so.
There's something I need from Lesley Weber, but I don't want to ask her directly.
And what's that, Dad?
Well, it's not vital. I'd just like to know the whereabouts of Luke and Laura. There's some important information I need from Luke. And I thought she would speak to you more easily than to me.
Dad, why couldn't we have coffee downstairs? Why do you want to keep me in this room?
I wanted to speak to you privately because you haven't answered my question yet.
About Lesley Weber coming to see me? I thought I had.
About whether you'd help me find out what I need to know.
Wouldn't Dr. Weber tell you where Laura is if you'd grown to know her as well as you say?
Not necessarily. Remember, she's a mother. And what if Laura talked to her on the phone and asked her to keep confidence?
I see. And you think perhaps another woman could get through to her?
Well, especially a woman who's been the victim of her very own daughter's actions. Leslie feels very badly about that.
All right, Dad. I'll try to help you.
Fine. I'll call her at the hospital and talk to her there.
Okay.
Dr. Lesley Weber, please. All right, I'll wait. Leslie, it's Frank Smith. Oh, I'm fine, and so is Jennifer. I'm here with her in Albany. Well, I did leave rather suddenly. But I've been talking with Jennifer about you, and she'd love for you to come and see her. Yes, of course. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Dad, you said that Luke has some important information you need.
Oh, business matters. Too complicated to go into. If you can just find out where Luke is, he and I can work it out together. According to the list.
Don't hold out on the organization, Frank.
What are you talking about?
Hutch is no fool. If he sold out, the price had to be right.
You know everything I know. I've not held anything back.
I hope not.
I promise you have all the facts. Now, why don't you get back to Fair Oaks and stay on the job? I don't want any mistakes this time.
I don't make mistakes.
He knows you're not telling him everything.
He doesn't know what it is.
You're in trouble, Frank.
What was I supposed to do? Admit that Hutch may be after the gold I skimmed off the top of my operation here in Port Charles?
Of course not, but,
I have to play it very cool, let him handle the hit without interference, because if Luke and Laura ever stumble on the real left-handed boy, that's the end of everything.
what if everything hits the fan?
Well, we take off for South America. I have everything waiting for me in Brazil and Rio.
What about Jennifer?
Take her with me, of course.
You got to level with her, tell her everything?
She's her father's daughter. She already senses a lot of what's going on. When the time comes, she'll be on my side. You can count on it. Hello?
Oh, Frank, you are back.
Oh, how good to hear your voice, Lesley.
I was just checking to see if you were home yet and how Jennifer was and how your trip was and if she's as excited about seeing me as I am about seeing her.
As I told you on the phone, she was touched that you cared so deeply about what was happening to her. By all means, she wants to see you.
Oh, I really am delighted. Why don't you drop over here this morning and I'll give you some coffee and you can give me her address and directions on how to get there.
Well, that sounds just perfect. I'll be in your house in about a half hour.
That'd be marvelous. I'll see you then.
Bye.
Now, how's it? What, just a little lower.
Rose! Dr. River.
I was just coming down to the cafeteria to find you.
Patty?
Oh, no. No, I just sent Bobby in with a fresh IV, and she told me where you were, and I thought maybe you'd like some company.
Oh, I hate to be a bother.
You're not a bother. You're a friend.
Is Joe still in with his dad?
Mm-hmm. So why don't you and I go over to the lounge and chat?
Dr. Troutman to OR, Dad. Dr. Troutman to OR, Dad.
It's quiet around here at night, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But we make up for it during the day.
Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, I couldn't have left. I would have been bored at home. And I do know how very quiet it can get here at night. Rose?
Joe and Patty have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, don't feel left out.
Is that obvious?
Oh, sure. But it's totally understandable. You just have to keep reminding yourself how long they were estranged.
Oh, Dr. Weber. With all my problems with Patty, I keep forgetting to ask you. Have you heard any news from Laura?
No, I don't.